Any thoughts on how can the industry communicate better with consumers? And I know that's a tough one, right? Everyone's trying to do that, but like you said, back to your Tesla example, which is incremental innovation versus radical innovation. For example, many folks in our industry or associations have no idea what TikTok is, and I know TikTok's from China, so it's being banned, but even Instagram stories or Instagram reels or that kind of stuff. Okay, well, maybe that's what, I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here as I ask you,
Yeah, I don't know really. And, some of this new revelation that the pork board has recently produced about consumer acceptance and some of those things of how we're the fourth rated protein today with consumers, I think is a reality check for the industry. And I think in the past, we primarily focused on eating experience, and some of the other components of customer satisfaction have been gleefully ignored. And so I think pork producers can't solve that problem, frankly. It's just outside their mentality, and they need somebody that they can have confidence in and give them direction and input. At the same time, the producers need to give input back to the retailer and the consumer of what this will do to the cost of food if it gets imposed. And so I think that's the ongoing dialogue that needs to occur. And I think independent organizations like the National Pork Board, the NPPC, for instance, those organizations have an important role in speaking in behalf of the industry, as well as and speaking for pork producers. But it's just been one of my pet peeves over the years to see pork consumption continue to remain flat and poultry consumption to have a linear increase for the past 10 or 15 years.
Right.
And then we kind of live and die on how much of our product is exported. And so, that over-reliance on the export market without some certainty is very challenging. I'll share with you one quick story. Back when the Chinese first started to buy pork from the U.S., what they would do is they'd say, we're going to buy pork for the first quarter of next year. Your bid is due such and such day. You submit your bid, and then you'd give them a yes or no on that bid.
Okay.
And then that's all the business you'd have with that organization until the next bid came up for the next quarter. So one quarter you had a bunch of product that would go, and the next quarter you had no product that would go. And we all know with pig production, we cannot manage flows on quarterly forecasts.
No.
And so we needed to have a more consistent demand to be able to absorb the increase we have. Now, the Japanese have got it figured out. They know that they can't produce pork as cost effective. They can bring a better product in. They're going to buy so much product a year. They're consistent buyers. You can rely on the Japanese accounts.
Interesting.
There's other export markets where when a disease goes through, you got to fill a gap for them, and then when the disease is fixed, you've accelerated your production to fill their gap, and then you're sitting with overproduction.
Right.
And so at some point, that's a bit of the insanity kind of equation in my mind. And how long do we continue to chase that rabbit,
Right. Wow. It's probably a tough one, right? To say, hey, no, I don't want to do quarterly. I want to do yearly, but that goes back to bargain. Bargain?
Well, even when the Chinese purchased Smithfield, I thought at some point that would mean more consistent exports because you're shipping it to your parent company.
But
that just never did materialize. Now a little bit's going and it's consistent, but it's not enough that you can even establish the foundation of future roots in your industry,